Okay, so sign diagrams. What was the big whoop-doop with them? Silence, silence again from the crowd. So they're telling you when your y values are positive or negative. Okay? The critical values that you're going to have to put on a sign diagram start with, ones like this, they start with our, what are they? Our x-intercepts, okay? The things that make the function equal to 0. So yes, you might have to factorize again, God forbid. The other thing that you have to put on your sign diagram are these things here. What are they called again? Asymptotes. Vertical asymptotes. And when do the vertical asymptotes occur?
When it
Denominator. Okay, when your denominator equals 0, that's when you're going to have a vertical asymptote. Oui? So we were looking, it started off that we were just looking at the graphs and you could clearly see and make your sign diagram from that. So we'll just have a recap and make sure that we're all on the same page. So if we did this one, edit, paste, right, what would our sign diagram look like for this? We go zoopity-doopity. Where the -2 is, what was the bit that you had to remember with your sign diagram? You had to put the dotted. You can't just put a dash for that. But here is our intercept. So that becomes, so put the -2. Oh, that's not very good. And -1. All good until we have another intercept at 1. And then we have another at 2. And now we just play the game, okay? This side of 2, it's negative. In between 1 and 2, it's positive. Oops, then it's negative, above, positive, negative. That's it. Quite nice when you're given the function. Then it graduated to, you don't have the function, you now have the equation. And these ones were pretty nice because straight away we can now see what the x-intercepts are. Do you agree? Just looking at question 2, would there be any vertical asymptotes? Negatory. No, because there are no fractions. Were there any from question 2 that you wanted to go through? Are we still unsure about how we get the signs? We'll pick one, just your one out. Right, F. Okay, we had a request for F. So if we're looking at F, we've got 5 minus x, 1 take 2x. So the first thing we're going to do is suss out when is this whole thing going to be equal to 0. So what value for x makes this one 0? Clearly 5. What makes this one equal to 0? If you can't do it in your head, because early morning, 1 take 2x equals 0. The -1 goes on the other side. How do I get rid of a times -2? Divide. So we get x is 1/2. Number line. We pop them in order. So please don't put 5 and then 1/2, right? 1/2 then 5. And we go through there. Let's pick a value beyond 1/2. Huh?
10.
10. You can go 1, absolutely. You can go 2. You can, oh, not 1. Sorry, someone said 1. A number beyond 5, so 6, 7, 8. I just go 10. And I pop it in here. What's 5 take 10? And I just go negative, right? Is it positive or negative? What's 1 take 2 times 10? Would that also be negative? What's a negative times a negative? Pick a number in between 1/2 and 5. Well, that could be your 1. 5 take 1, that's positive. 2 times 1 is 2, so 1 take 2 is negative. A positive times a negative is a negative, and so on and so forth. And you check that one, that will be positive. Can you always go positive, negative, positive, negative, positive? I see shaking of the heads. When can you have plus, plus, minus, minus, or when should you? Right, when there's a repeated root, because we know this is actually looking like it's touching on the x-axis. So, of course, it's going to be positive, positive. Unless it's like this one, that's then downstairs, it's going to be negative, negative. Okay, so when there's a squared factor, we should be actually realizing there's going to be repeated signs, aka repeated root. We good with that? Great, we go on, equal to 0. We go, hate that fraction. How do we get rid of the divide by? X take 1. You times, and hopefully, the more times you do this, you realize, oh, all I have to do to make that whole thing 0, all I have to do is make the top 0. If the numerator is 0, 0 divided by anything, 0. So you're learning and making note of these things, not just going, oh, answer, correct, look at the answer, tick. Learn as you go. So that's going to be something that appears on my sign diagram. The next thing we check for, are there any vertical asymptotes? So that's code for, is the denominator going to be 0 for any value of x? Lots of nodding, fantastic. So we're going to have a vertical asymptote of x equals 1. Yep. So now we do our diagram. Here's our -2. Here's our vertical asymptote. And now we run through that same motion. What's the value beyond 1? 10. 10 plus 2 is positive. 10 take 1. Positive. Bang. What's a number in between -2 and 1?
0.
Excellent choice. 0 plus 2, 2. 0 take 1, negative. Positive divided by negative, negative. Yeah? You know where this is going. Pick a number beyond -2.
Negative 10.
Negative 10 plus 2, negative. Negative 10 take 1, negative. A negative over a negative. Positive. So we're just saying we've seen equations of circles before when we had our unit circle, x squared plus y squared equals 1, or cos squared plus sine squared equals 1. Our equation of a circle here, general form, is x minus a squared, y take b squared equals your radius squared. So this will be a circle that has a centre AB, bless you, and a radius equal to r. And if you're a little bit worried going, ugh, that looks hideous, you'll see in a moment it's really nice. They're not going to ask you to do too much crazy stuff with this, I don't think. So very, very crazy stuff. If they give you the centre and they give you the radius, surely you should then be able to tell me the equation of the circle, yes? So if it's got a centre 4 minus 1, oh wow, x take 4 squared. Yeah, and then y plus 1 squared, because you're saying take 1, equals your radius, don't forget to square it, 25. And that's it, your job is done. If it says expand it, then you can expand it, but if it doesn't say expand, don't do it. Don't do extra work. All right, here, centre -2, 3, so x plus 2 squared, y take 3 squared, root 7 squared we know is 7. All right, what they're going to then do is maybe you have to find out what the radius is. You might have to find out what the centre is. But once you do it, you can whack it in. So they'll give it to you instead of just in words. Ooh, they'll give it as a diagram. I don't know, bit challenging for a Tuesday morning. What's our centre? -1, 3. So, fine. And what's our radius? 2. 1, 2. So the radius is 2. We'll pop it in. So don't get too worried. It's not going to get too crazy, right? So let's start. Put a heading, 3G1. Do the left-hand side, and we can verbally do the right-hand side. How does that sound? So A, in your books, remember, they're your notes. You are going to have an exam and you're going to have a test on this. So pop, 5, 1. Are we really talking while I'm talking, kids? Radius is 2, so write that down so you can come back and check it. And therefore our equation will be x minus 5 squared plus. You're thinking there's something suspicious here, right? Why is it so simple? It's all they're asking you to do. Here it comes, equals, good, not 2, but 4. All done and dusted. Who would like to say what the equation is for B? Go, Finn, yep. X plus 3 squared, yep. Y take 4 squared equals 36. Beautiful. What's the only thing with C? Good. They've got the minus there. Good, Dimitri. So it's going to be X plus 6 squared. Good. Equals 3. Because root 3 squared is 3. So question C, we couldn't easily get our radius. So we've got our centre. So I'm repeating for those who are here. 1, 2, we got this part of the equation. Everyone happy? But we didn't know the radius. So we said we could use Pythag and get it. But I'm asking you, make use of this here, 2, 4. Every time you get a coordinate, right, it's telling you something really important. It's saying when X is 2, Y will be 4. Don't we have an X and a Y here? Why don't we just sub? If I sub 2 and 4, what is 2 take 1? 1. So 1 squared is 1. What is 4 take 2? 2. 2 squared is 4. And we're saying that's what R squared is, which is the same. R is 5. It's the same we got as if we were doing the distance formula. And can you see that this is in fact the distance formula? It's your X, take your X value, your Y, take your Y value, like it's connected. It's exciting. Right? So, if you want to, go your distance formula. I'm a big fan of sub. Sub. So nicely, the centre gives me this part of the equation, equals R squared. 2, 4. It's drawn as it lies on the circle. All right, so it could have been written as a question, passes through. So I sub it. That's my X value. That's my Y value. Sub it in here. This is what I get. I get R squared equals 5. Bang. And this is leading into now us going through our test solutions and corrections, because question 3 is a typical, you have all the information now to do this, but because it's worded or drawn just a little, or asked just a little bit differently, we naturally have a little bit of a freak out. So if you see this and you go, we're a little bit stuck. Oh, 3. What is going on? Version was a little bit old. So, but unsure, right? I would do this. Oh, that's not a bad circle, right? A, my centre is minus 2, 1. And B, where has B got to be in relation to that circle? It's got to be on the circle, doesn't it? Because it's the radius. So it's going to be 4 and then minus 1. I don't really care whereabouts you put it, but there's your A. Here's your B. Isn't this just like part C that we did? It's just written instead of a picture drawn. So what you need to do, draw the picture and then you can do it. So here's our centre. So straight away we can say that's X plus 2 squared plus Y take 1 squared equals your radius squared. And now you have a choice to make. Do you want to use Pythagoras' theorem to find, or the distance formula to find the radius, or do you just want to sub? What do you want to do? Sub. Me too. It's all about the sub. That's your X. That's your Y. Let's sub it in. 4 plus 2 squared minus 1 take 1 squared. Please put your calculators away, right? 4 plus 2, 6. 6 squared is 36, because I know some of you will still be a slacker and go minus 2 squared, and it'll tell you minus 4, which is wrong. And so therefore your radius is 40. Rewrite this and say that that equals 40 and you're done. This is radius squared. Sorry, I had to bend.